Okay, Coach. Just first talk about just a quick recap of Saturday against Lafayette.
Yeah, it was a very disappointing day in almost every way. We just weren't effective in all three phases of the game. Offensively, we moved the ball very well at times, but the story of the game is we couldn't punch it in. We had three red zone series where two we came up with none, and one we had to settle for a field goal. And then, of course, we had a tip pass go for an interception against us. So you put those four series. I mean, that's a huge difference in a game. And the big thing, we couldn't connect on the long passes. Lafayette was sending the house in their blitz game, and we just couldn't seem to connect on those long passes. We were real close, but we just didn't do it enough to make them pay. Defensively, on the flip side, we gave up too many big plays, and in some cases, we're right there with the receivers, and they came up with great plays. In particular, Mark Ross, number 10, just made three or four just fantastic grabs, and we're right there with him in coverage. Even special teams, which has been one of our consistent strong points this year, was a big letdown. We had trouble fielding the ball with the wind several times, and we just didn't have a productive return game, and weren't able to change field position that way.
One bright spot for you was Gabe Guild. Just talk about his performance and what he's kind of gone through this season.
Yeah, Gabe is a tremendous player, as we all know, and he's unfortunately been injured since the third game of the season. So he's been in and out of the lineup. In some weeks he hasn't been able to play. The last 2 weeks he's been able to play, but has had to come out of the game a couple of times with an ankle injury. This week was probably his strongest week since the injury. He was able to go 3/4 of the game, or even into the fourth quarter this week. Whereas last week he only got through 3/4 of the game. So it's one of those things. I think he's getting stronger by the week. And as you saw, he had some tremendous runs. Really had a tremendous rushing day. And we did as a team. We rushed the ball for over 200 yards. We had 28 first downs. Those are pretty impressive stats. But the most important stat is to win the game. So converting on third downs was, I think, a big part of that.
And between him, Peter, and Lafayette's quarterback, three freshmen, big impacts on the game. I know it's kind of obvious, but scholarship players. Just talk about the impact that they're having, in the league and in the game you played. Just talk about how the freshmen are impacting the season.
We've seen the impact in our own program, but you see around the league, and you see in the opponent we have this week in Fordham. I just think there's more high quality guys in each class. I mean, we have high quality players in each of our classes. I just think scholarships increase the chances you're going to yield more in each class, and that certainly increases your chances of getting a star in at each position. And, Gabe was able to take an opportunity. Reggie Woods was injured early in the season. He stepped in and was a talented young man, and he came in, learned the system, and was able to be productive, get on the field, and he's done a great job when he's been on the field. Like I said, the injuries are the only thing that's slowed him down.
Fordham this week 8-0. They're top 10. Just talk about the Rams and the run they've been on.
Well, this is their fourth year, so they're a fully funded program, and like I said, they have higher number of high quality guys in each class. So we've for years said that they were the most talented team in the league. A couple of years ago, when they were losing, everyone looked at you like you were crazy, but they really did have a high degree of talent. That's increased over the years. They've gotten a couple of transfers. A new coaching staff came in last year and infused a different direction. So they're a great team. They're a very explosive offense. Their skill is on offense is by far the best in the league, and they have a great offensive line, a big offensive line that opens up holes for the running back. So they're a real big challenge. They've scored 42.5 points on average per game, so they can really move the ball, and they've done that successfully against everyone. And that's not to say they're not good on defense or special teams, but their offense steals the headlines.
Now, a player that's key for them is someone that's familiar to people in this area, Dan Light. Just as an opposing coach, what do you see in him as a player, and what does he do for them?
Well, Dan's a guy that we would have loved to have a GoHolyCross, but again, at the time, we couldn't offer him what Fordham could with the scholarship. But he's a very athletic tight end. Earlier on in his career, he was used as a pass receiver. They lined him up at tight end, but that was his strength. He's really come along. He's a legitimate part of their run game now. They use him as an insert player in different ways on the edge, front side and back side, and they'll bring him back across the tide to trap interior linemen or to kick out the opposite defensive end. So he's a big part of the run game now, and he's a serious pass threat. So when you have very fast wide receivers like they do, taking the top off the coverage, sometimes that middle or the lower or the outside zones in defenses are open for Dan, and he's done a great job. He has tremendous hands, so he's having a very good career and a very good year there at Fordham.
If there's one thing that you would think would need to be key for your team going into this weekend, what would it be?
We need to minimize their big plays. They've hit huge plays against everyone, and we just got to minimize it, make them earn everything. So we can't let the receivers get behind us, and we got to stop the running back for shorter gains. And on the flip side, we have to do that to them. We have to take care of the ball, but we have to make some big plays on offense and move the ball, move the chains more successfully than we did last week.
All right, Coach, thank you.